Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. From wherever you're watching from, this is a Creatives Garage Masterclass. My name is Wambui Kinyua, a lover and a project manager. I work in the creative industry, and I actually prefer to call myself a social scientist because it comes from time being in the communications industry. Like, I started with learning, that's actually my background. I started learning communications and specifically PR at the University of Nairobi. And after PR, I did development communication. So my whole career, to be honest, has been an accident. There's not one day in the years that preceded my being here that I was like, one day I'm going to be a project manager and I'm going to be doing blah, 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 blah. I honestly surely thought when I was in high school I was going to be like an IT professional. But after one way or another, things happened and I did communications, and immediately I got there, I just completely fell in love with communication. I will start by giving you the best advice I think I would have ever gotten when I was starting out. And the first one is definitely to follow your heart. I think there's a way that we have been socialized to have structures in everything that you want to do. And like, structures will start with maybe you need to understand where you want to get into, what industry you want to focus on. You want to have a direction to where you want to go. But honestly, at the end of the day, I want to say that your heart is the biggest input. Your heart should be the biggest advisor to your career, because honestly, I think that is where your joy also comes from. If you do something that you love, you will never ever feel like giving up. If you do something that you absolutely love, it will never feel like a job. It will always feel like you're always on a vocation, going to another vocation. And it helps a lot when it comes to frustration, because you can't help some of these things getting to you. Once in a while, I do volunteer as a teacher somewhere in Kibera at a school called From Kibera with Love. And the one thing I always tell the kids is that you have to identify gaps. The secret to success in this life, especially in the first life that we're in, because right now we have clearly seen that everything is going so fast. So when it comes to success, people are succeeding so fast. When it comes to failure, people are failing so hard and so fast. So if you can be able to identify gaps within your community, so whatever it is that wherever you are in, so let's say you are in Mathare, for example, and you've identified that there's a problem with, for example, accessing gas to your customers, you can start having a business for gas deliveries, right? And the secret of organizing an organization is actually solving a problem. The minute you solve a problem, you'll be able to sustain the project, the organization, right? And currently, I am working for 2 organizations. The first organization is the Acacia Collective. The Acacia Collective is a creative space that is, one, a safe space for creatives to come in and relax, unwind, and kind of re-strategize, right? It's also a space for creatives to be able to come and have conversations on their mental health and wellness, which is usually had every Wednesday. And the main purpose of the Acacia Collective is actually creative development. So we're trying to work with different organizations to be able to bring help to the creative industry. For example, there's a gap in the sense that when COVID struck, so many creatives were unable to pay rent because most of them were reliant completely on performance or sales of art, which used to come from gallery exhibitions. And at that time, everything was locked down. The other organization I work for is Currents FM. It is an international platform for creatives to earn an alternative source of income. And that way, you're able to earn income when you're at home. Because this is a place where you can be able to upload all of your music and also performances. And we usually curate festivals, online festivals, where when people attend these festivals, they're able to donate money and the money comes directly to you. I do community organizing at Currents. So at the Acacia Collective is where I began this project management journey full, meaning that I was a main project manager for the Acacia Collective. And it's been a crazy journey, and I would love to share my experience with you. The first thing I had to learn about project management was patience. There's so many things that happen in an organization every day. And especially when you're starting it out, you have to understand that there's going to be so much that is going to interrupt the process. There's also going to be so many things that you're going to be learning on the job. And the one thing for me that had to be instilled inside myself, which I usually lack on a normal day, is patience. So I had to learn how to be patient with artists, which is something that I've been learning for my 8 years in the creative industry. But this one was even more special because the main founder, who is Alexa Orsi, is an artist. And she has a bit of ADD. And there's all these other things about the complications of the founding fathers of the organization. So I had to learn how to be patient with them, every one of them. Like, for example, if I need something done, I have to remind her, I have to remind everyone in the organization on the things that are supposed to be getting done. And that's the one thing about project management you need to understand. You have to make sure that all the roles that you've given, all of the duties that are supposed to be done, have to be executed to the end. Patience is a virtue. And within these organizations, especially when you're dealing with creatives, you have to learn how to adapt patience as a native for any project manager out there. Most creatives have a way that they don't have a system of making decisions or of executing plans. So you have to understand how to deal with that every day. And one of the ways for me has actually been reminding everyone of their tasks. So I usually have a way, every time we have a meeting, which is usually on Tuesdays, I always remind everyone all their tasks and get feedback as to where we're at. Work hard, work smart, and do all the dirty work that you need to do. Because for an organization, especially when it's starting out, you don't have a lot of money to pay a big crowd of staff. You have just a few people, if you're lucky, and sometimes it's just one person, the person who's doing project management. In that sense, me, for the Acacia Collective. And you have to understand that you can't be so selective with the roles that you have to take up, right? So in short, you have to create a lot of learning on business development. I am lucky that that's what I did in campus, that I did communication, development communication. So you have to emulate everything that needs to be done inside an organization by yourself if you have to. If you have to clean the floors in the morning when you get in, you got to do it. If you have to strategize business strategy, you have to do it. If you need assistance, you can definitely give people calls. And that's why we always say that you need a community around you. It takes a community to bring up a child, and an organization is just like a child. You have to understand that you need a strong community around you to help you bring up the organization. When we are in school, we are told that we need to work hard. And we are also told that we need to work smart. Honestly, you have to find a balance. There's nothing in the world that will tell you right now that hard work is the way to success. Nothing. Right now, there are people who did a few things on a laptop and they are billionaires. Working smart is also very important. If you can be able to find a balance of both, please, please, please ground yourself in balance. Not every day. You don't have to be busy every day for you to be a successful organization. You don't have to be sweating every day, getting sleepless nights, or sleeping so late in the evening. You can be able to find a way, like find hours. Actually, that's the smartest way to go. For me, that's what I do. Every day I have hours I'm going to work. For example, for the Acacia Collective, I give 5 hours to work for the Acacia Collective every day. And Current FM, I have 8 hours. So it means I do work late till the evening, but it is very fulfilling work for both. If you have a time, have a target. If you have a time, let's say I'm going to work for 2 hours and then have a break and then have 2 more hours to work. It's much easier on your brain. If you can be able to have intensive time, have an intensive time to work, 2 hours, take 10 minutes break or 20 minutes break, and then go back into work. Your brain is also not a machine. And even machines need lubrications, they need power, they need all these things that make them work right every day. Your body and your mind is like, think about it like a car. The more time you give a car, the more it's going to reward you. It will last longer. It will drive easily. It will give you ultimate performance when you have it. The next element is definitely dedication. You have to understand that it's the things that you do when people are not watching that count more than the things that you do when people are watching. Okay? Every day when you wake up in the morning, when you're at your house, what are you doing? Right? When you get to the office, what are you doing? Are you being productive or are you not being productive? Right? If it's about social media, you understand what digital hygiene is. Because if you're going to be getting into that loop of social media every day you get on your office, on your laptop, on your phone, because we are lucky enough, us guys, we are not in the official business. Let me call it official, white-collar business. Because in white-collar businesses, they kind of have a way, they have perimeters for all the Wi-Fis, for example. Like you can't access Facebook, you can't access blah, blah, blah. It helps a lot, right, for those people. But for us, we have to have it inside here. It's about yourself, right? Every day you have to power yourself to be able to avoid the things that weigh you down mentally, that weigh you down in time, because time is of the essence. Every minute counts. If you spend 20 minutes on Instagram doing something useless, then it's on you, yeah? And especially when it comes to when you're leading an organization, you have to understand it's up to you at the end of the day. You are the one who can be your best manager. You are the one who will be able to limit yourself. You're your only seatbelt. There's no one else there to tell you, oh, Wambui, why are you not waking up? Wambui, why are you not in your office? Wambui, there's no one to tell you all those things. It's up to you when you're the lead, okay? In project management, there's something that I've realized that has kind of changed everything that has changed everything in how I work around things. And that thing is actually tools. I have discovered so many tools built to enhance the project management systems, right? And the first things first, we have to give thanks to Project Google, right? Because Google has Google Sheets. It has Google Documents. It has Google Forms. All these things are so crucial when it comes to running an organization. The other thing is actually co-working tools. And this is like, let's say in Notion, you can write minutes on live, and Slack, where you can have conversations with your team, right? Being a project manager, as you heard before, I didn't start out learning about project management. I started out as a communication specialist, and I did PR and development communication. I learned project management on the go. My first job was with Santuri East Africa, and I was a project assistant at Santuri East Africa. And my boss was the one who was able to show me the loops, how to do this, where to do this, what, when, how. He's the one who actually made me to become such a good time manager, because I would always find him at the office, which sucked for me. I will find him at the office. If we're going for a meeting, he'll be there 5-10 minutes ahead of time. And honestly, I give thanks to such experiences. The best way to learn is actually through experience. Experience is ultimately the best teacher. You'll sit down behind a desk and you'll be taught by a teacher, maybe in campus, a lecturer will come in and teach you, you have to do this for your organization, project management is like this and like that. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you don't learn on the experience, on the job, honestly, it's useless. Your education is useless. Theory is useless. The fifth element of running an organization is actually spiritual. When you are the head or the lead of an organization, it helps so much to have spirituality come into the space. And the first things first I'm going to talk about is actually imposter syndrome. I myself suffer a lot from imposter syndrome, but it's a work in progress. Every day I have to remind myself, I am okay, I am good, I am efficient, and I am doing things right. Because sometimes your imposter syndrome will come in, and I think it's actually in most of the artists. People who are creatives, who do things from scratch, who are starting things, who are beginning things. It's very easy for that small demon inside your head telling you, by the way, you don't know anything, you fucked up, you suck, blah, blah, blah. It is always going to be that voice. But you have to always conquer and go beyond it. Every day you have to understand that you being where you are is everything. It means everything. It not only means that you're good at what you do, it also means that you are going towards the right direction. So imposter syndrome can be helped, can be kind of put in a way that it's not affecting you every day. And the first things first for that is actually working on it. For every problem you have in this life, you have to understand, you have to work on it. You can't just say a prayer and expect that things are going to change. That's the one thing we need to understand as creatives. Every day you wake up, you have to work towards a certain objective. So even with your imposter syndrome, you can be able to work towards getting better. Okay? The one thing you have to understand is that everything can change, even your imposter syndrome. And the one way to go about it is actually working towards changing. You can see a therapist, and you can also heal yourself from within. Just believing, talking about it, having a cheering squad. You need to have a cheering squad. Honestly, it may sound like a crazy thing, but my parents and my sister are my favorite cheering squad. I love being affirmed by them. I love it when they say you are okay and you're doing a good job. Though sometimes it also comes to bite me in the foot because sometimes they are not so sure about my decisions, especially because of the fact that they're in the creative industry. I think it will be easier for them if I was in an 8-to-5 job, somewhere at KRA, just punching numbers because there's security. There's security, job security. And that's not how it's going to work. Because for me, I have already made up my mind. I love music, I love art, and that's the only way I want to go. But having someone reinforce your decision, actually it helps when this person is a colleague or a partner or someone who you're working for or with. My business partner is my favorite cheering squad, actually, because for her, every day is a journey through a different process. Troubleshooting, because sometimes things will not work the way you want them to work, and it will actually put you down. When you go towards something with a lot of passion, when it goes down, trust me, it feels like you've just died. You have just died, and you're hoping that maybe you're going to come back alive in a certain way. So me having conversations with her, exchanging ideas and being like, yo, we've really put a lot of energy and effort into this strategy. But it's not going to work like this, clearly. We have to reinvent this idea, okay? Being spiritual is the whole element of your body. And it is so necessary when you are a project lead or a project manager and you have a sense of yourself, a sense of self, a sense of the universe around you, okay? And it's going to sound a bit weird or off a little bit, you want, but finding yourself, finding truly who you are deep inside is the key of unlocking spirituality. Every day you're going to find people who are going to sway you a certain direction. There's a song that actually, I think everyone should listen to it. It's by Eurythmics and it's called Sweet Dreams. Everyone has an agenda. Sweet dreams, everyone who you come to interact with every day has an agenda to a sense. They either want to take you to a certain direction, they want you to follow them, they want you to change, they want to impact change within you. But every day you have to understand, as a person who's running an organization, you have to stand strong in all the decisions that you make. Your inner journey informs so many things about your lifestyle. And it is also informed by those things. It's related. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Every day, everything you do is informed by something inside your head, right? And it is through the experiences that you've lived through in your whole life. And some of these things will come out, your traumas of how you grew up. It will kind of sway things to a certain direction when you're working in an organization. Your traumas, your joys, your heart, your pain, your joy. Every day as you run an organization, all these things will definitely come out. And the one thing that can be helpful towards yourself is actually learning who you are. Every day you have to put in practice to understand who exactly are you. Because if you're always emulating people's decisions, if you're always listening to other people, you have a business partner, and this business partner is the only one who is able to make a decision for you to listen to them, there's a problem. Within yourself is where the information will come from. It is where the most educated information is going to come from. When it comes to a place where you're in a juncture, you have you're in a corner, you need to understand what road to pick. You have to understand that the information has to come from within. Even if you listen to advice from people, right? You'll have, you go talk to your boss, you go talk to your sisters, your cousins, blah, blah, blah. Everyone will have a different thing they want you to do. But at the end of the day, the information has to come from yourself. We have to understand that we are co-creators with God, especially in the creative industry. Every day, everything that you do is furthering in the creative process. There's one day that there was no Acacia Collective. There was one day there was no Currents FM. There was one day there was no Creatives Garage. But the founders of these institutions are creators. The artists, when you come up with a track, when you come up with an album, when you come up with a project, when you come up with a visual art piece, you have created something. And it is furthering creation in one way or another. You might think that it's a small impact, but honestly, it is going to be grand in a way, because you never know the true effect of a thing until it stays for a certain number of time. Being present will always make you at the beginning or at the forefront, at the focal point of decision making. Being present will let you understand the time. If you're right now living in this moment, like you listen to the things that are happening around, you listen to the creative industry and understand this is the situation that we are in. How is it can we go ahead? There's also someone who says that pressure, I don't know whether it's pressure, but it's usually the best catalyst for invention. I don't know whether it's pressure or circumstance or whatever. That's when that is a mother of invention. That when you get to a point where it's pressed, right? It's a pressed point. Like there's pressure on all sides. That's when you're able to make a decision. So if you're living in that moment, you're existing and you've immersed yourself in that moment, for sure, you should be able to come up with a way out, a solution. And let me tell you, solutions, as I said before, are usually the ways to be successful in life. If you can find problems and solve them, there's probably 30,000 other people, at least 30,000 people in the world right now going through the same problem that you're going through. If you can find a way to solve this problem for them, you can be able to go ahead. But we're still in spirituality. And the other thing that I think a lot of people lack is believing in abundance. Abundance just means that you believe that this business is going to work. You're not going to lack money. You're not going to lack stuff. You're not going to lack ideas. Everything is already there. Is there, was there, and will always be there. You have to understand, when you have a mindset of abundance, you'll always put your organization to a way that it's always going to have success. It's always going to achieve success. And it is not just abundance in the essence of money and things like that. It's also about happiness. Every day you have to understand that you're going to generate a lot more success to creatives. For example, where I am in, at Currents FM, we are all about having creatives being successful and having artists being valued in the way they're supposed to be valued. At Currents, we work with musicians only. And that's at the moment. And there's going to be so many things that we're going to be inputting for creatives to earn right. There's so many algorithms, there's so many platforms in the world that are already existing, but there's a problem. Because you find that the smaller artists will never earn as much as the bigger artists. But the smaller artists are actually the ones who make the platform. Let's say, I think there's only like, in an estimate, 1,000 artists in the world who are the most famous. But what about the ones who are not the 1,000? Those are the ones who actually create the platform, because let's say, right now I think in Spotify there's like 3 million artists. All those 3 million artists should be spread around, like to have at least quite some money in their bank accounts from the platforms. They should be earning enough, because honestly, with those 3 million, they are earning much more than with their 1,000 artists, the people who they influence. So, abundance. Every day, putting your company, it's not like, even if you feel like you're coming to a level where you're lacking something. For example, there was a budget of 100 million, and right now the budget is already done. You can't think about the lack right now. You have to think about, it's there and it's going to come. How is it coming? Strategize on that coming. Strategize on how you're making this small money to earn that 100 million back, or to generate the income. Yeah? As much as we want to follow our hearts, we have to understand, bottom line of a successful business is its strategy. Okay? We can identify thousands of gaps in the industry, and we can find thousands of solutions for the same problems. But if we do not have a good strategy, we will not be able to make it anywhere. We will not. Strategy just means that from the problem to the solution, how do we get there? From the problem solution to the money, how do we get there? That's the only thing about strategy. And if you can be able, even if when you're starting an organization, if you can just be able to have a friend who does strategy. I have a couple. I am lucky that I have a couple. You can be able to just get advice. Just ask them, like, yo, what do you think about this? And it's not a must for them to just be a strategist. You can also find advice for strategy through friends who do other things. Just talk about your problem solution. Talk about it, because you can't be afraid of having the idea stolen every day. And that's another element of abundance. If you just understand that every day you're going to be having ideas of a solution, every day, even if this person takes this idea, they'll never implement it the way you want it to be implemented. So if you can have conversations, do research, talk about the things that you want to solve and how you want to solve them. And through that, you'll be able to find a strategy. You can also hire a strategist. They are quite expensive, but there can be exchange of favors. And that's another agenda of the Acacia Collective. We try and do barter trade. You can find a strategist, and you can be able to give this strategist a service or a good. So you can have a solution for the strategist that they may not have. For example, let's say you build websites. If you build websites, you can build a website for a strategist, because everyone needs a website, right? We're on the e-commerce level right now. Our marketplace is mostly online. So if you can find a way to exchange a service for strategy, because trust me, without a strategy, you will not be able to achieve success in your company. Research, re-strategize, reinvent. Okay? And those are actually the keys of having anything successful. Change is the one permanent thing that we have in life. Change. Everything is going to change. Opinions, feelings, ideas, agendas, everything is susceptible to change. You have to understand that every time that there's a change somewhere, you have to be alert. Always keep your eyes open. If this is something that you're doing, this is your industry, this is your core, this is your organization deals with this and that, you always have to have your ears on the ground. What is happening in the industry? How is it changing? And even within the organization, there's always going to be change. Oh, this person felt that this was the right way to go about this, and all of a sudden something has happened and they've changed their decision. They've changed their idea. They've changed their opinion. What do? Reinvent and re-strategize. If you had put your strategy on that idea or the thing that they had contributed towards the organization, you have to change. You have to learn how to move and adapt fast. Because honestly, no one is going to help you if you're always going to fall and lie on the ground. When you fall, you have to understand how to wake up, dust yourself, and move. Okay? So that is one of the biggest strengths that I think every company should foster. Foster this in your employees and even in your employers if you can. Foster the way to be able to adapt quickly to change. Because change, at the end of the day, is permanent. Every day things are going to change. Every day. Every year, every series, every employee who comes, and when they go out, a new employee comes and they're going to emulate things differently. You have to learn how to adapt quickly and change quickly if you need to. Your success is directly proportional to the people you keep around you. You are your social capital. This might not apply to some people because maybe they are tech people who get their jobs online. They don't need to interact with people so much. But if you are running a business, a physical business, you are your social capital. You have to keep people of value around you. Every day when you're talking to people, when you're meeting people, put your best foot forward. If you feel that this person is a time waster, for example, if this person is just not serious with their lives or whatever it is, make sure that you surround yourself with people who are valuable. All the people you feel that are not the best, because I think there's a big problem that I've found with my friends. There's a couple of friends of mine who I think are always surrounding themselves with people they think are less than them. So that every day when they're in an argument, they're always going to win. And I think that's a big problem. It's called, what is it called? I've forgotten what it's called. But it's a thing that they always want to be higher than other people. It's like a hierarchy thing. They always want to feel good about winning things. They always want to feel good about earning more money, being more smart than the people around them. But that will never serve you, because at the end of the day, you need also for you to be challenged. You're always challenging them. You need to be challenged yourself. So at an early age, actually, even with my first job at Santuri, East Africa, I was able to understand that I had a lot of fun with older people. Because I think younger people at that time, we just used to talk about people and TV shows, and sometimes that's just enough for a certain time, right? When you really want to progress in life, you have to understand that there are people who have had more experiences than you, or better experiences in terms of they have had, in their lives, they've been able to surround themselves with professionals, they've been able to surround themselves with different people around the world, global people, because I think at the end of the day, if you want to if you want to have a business that's going across borders, you have to understand how to deal with everyone individually. The minute you understand that people who are wiser or older or more experienced than you, when you hang around them, they can be able to propel your thoughts. It will really come through for your organizations. So if I am working for an organization and I know that I need to be better than myself, I'll always hang around with people, for example, who are in that industry, people who are doing good in that industry. I just want to hang out with them, just sit down with them and think, how does this person think? How does this person put in place their ideas or put up across their points, okay? Every day I'm curious, so I like to know, I like to learn a lot more than I know. So understand that your social capital is key. It's actually the key to your success. If Bill Gates was not, if the social capital that Bill Gates had was not there, the circumstances that he was around, he will not have been what he is today. And I think it's the same for most successful people in the world. The last thing that I have to mention is actually about fun. Every day, you have to understand that it's you and your life. And you're the only ones who matter. You're the only one who matters in your life, okay? Every day you have to allow yourself to have fun. You have to allow yourself to sleep when you need to sleep. You know, for a long time, I used to have a very big problem when I was idle. I would be sitting in the office and there's no work to do. Like, we've already achieved the tasks that need to be done for the day. And I'm just sitting there on my laptop, feeling like maybe I should be like doing something. Like, it's like I was in a race to go somewhere. I don't know where I was going. And every day I'll just be like pressuring my bosses, yo, guys, what else should we be doing? What else should we be doing? I want to be doing something. Like, you're paying me some money at the end of the month, and I feel like I need to show for it. And I actually learned a very valuable lesson when I was working for my bosses in 2019. I worked for Afriduka, and they taught me that working smart is the best way to go, and you have to make peace with the downtimes of the job. It's not every day you have to be running and sweating. It's not every day. And when you get the time to breathe, even when you're on your desk, enjoy some music, learn how to pick a hobby and start doing some research on that hobby. It's not all the minutes that you have to be, and each time that you're not on the laptop, you feel like you're dying, And I remember vividly, actually, just let's say a year ago, that I started learning how to cycle, and I was working and I fell asleep, and I woke up feeling like, oh my God, this is 2 hours of my boss's money that I've just wasted. Honestly, we have to discontinue this thought. We have to discontinue this thought process. You have to learn that you have to respect yourself. Every day, everything that you do is planned for, and everything that you do is worth the money. Sometimes the 2 hours, it's not even about the time, it's about the work. You might have done work for an hour, and it's worth 8 hours of the day. Because I'm telling you, sometimes the problems you solve in the workplace are so valuable. So learn how to relax. My bosses at that time in 2019 printed out something for me, and it was written, keep calm and carry on. That every day I have to remind myself that it's not every day that I have to be running, shoving each other with the laptops. No. Sometimes you have to understand that you can be doing other research, you can be reading a book, because at the end of the day, it's also important. Learn how to have fun, even when you're working. And most importantly, after you're done working. I am a music lover, and every weekend, I try my best to treat myself to an event. I have to go dancing because that's what I love. Everyone has to ask themselves, you as a project manager or you as a project lead, what do you love to do? You have to identify that cutthroat. I think, and that's actually one thing that I find is a problem with a lot of people in Kenya. I don't know whether it's about self-esteem. They're unable to express what it is they love, maybe because they think that you find that thing is going to be inferior. But we have to learn how to stop giving so many facts about other people. When someone asks you what you love, do you know what it is that you love? Like right now, I'm asking you, what do you love? What do you enjoy doing when you're not working? Those things that you enjoy doing when you're not working are the ones that set your soul on fire. Are the ones that will always recharge you, because you always need a recharge. And for example, my friends will go play golf, and I'll be like, oh my God, how can you just go play golf? Because I think golf is so boring. I'm so sorry to all of you golf lovers, but I think golf is boring. But at the same time, I will never be like, oh my God, you guys, please don't go play golf. It's not fun. No. I'll be like, yo, if you love golf and you want to go play, go play. Because for sure, it will recharge your soul. When you come back on Monday, you're not feeling like it's a prolonged Friday. It's a prolonged break from Friday. You need to understand, you need to live on Saturday and you need to live on Sunday. You can't just not exist, okay? Every day that you go out, tire yourself out doing work, you have to reward yourself. There was a thing that we used to say when we were in primary school, that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And it's going to make you a dull boy, honestly. If you cannot find a way to release, let go of the stress, it's not worth it. You have to make sure that you always integrate it in your days. Every day, even when you wake up, maybe, for example, for me, I play music in the morning and I dance to it. And I'm able, honestly, to set the mood of the day. Sometimes I even call my friends to just be like, yo, what's up? And then we just laugh over nothing for like 10 minutes. And trust me, it kind of sets my moods. Every day you have to understand what works for you. And there's so many things that could be working. Okay? And especially in the creative industry where we're always surrounded by music. Sometimes maybe that's not what you like listening to. Like, that's not what makes your soul feel good. Go do whatever it is that makes you feel good. Find out what it is first. Actually, I would like to give all of you guys an assignment. Find out what sets your soul on fire. For me, I think I already know. For me, it's music, dancing, and food, especially good food. It sets my soul on fire. And when I want to unwind, I go out to the wild. I plant trees sometimes, and I like being in nature. Just even sitting on the ground or lying down, it feels amazing. One last thing. Fear is the biggest enemy of progress. You will never progress anywhere if you're always afraid. If you're always afraid to take the leap, you'd rather not, okay? You have to get courage. You have to find courage. You have to master courage within yourself. We're always told one thing, and I think it's the most true thing that I've ever known, that we are our own worst enemies. And when your own worst enemy, you understand that the thing that's putting you down is not someone else. It's not, the roads. It's not, traffic. It's you yourself, within yourself. What is working against you? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid of being alone? And all these things are things that we need to take effect and actually work on. And this is why I always say that everyone needs a therapist. You have to find a way of releasing all these problematic situations you have in your head. And fear is actually one thing that we get from our traumas. What did you go through when you were a child? And if you went through a very bad situation, and I'm so sorry, if you lost your mother or father when you're young, some of these things can inform the fear inside yourself. That when you go out, you don't really want to go out because someone you know died when they were inside a car driving or something like that. You have to disengage yourself from fear, though sometimes it's actually instilled within ourselves. That fear sometimes is also going to propel you. There's some good fear. There's some good amount of fear that will actually propel you. That when you see a lion, for example, you run instead of standing still. That is actually something that propels you to a good thing. So if you're very afraid of failure, you work extra hard or do more projects to be able to enhance you to have more of whatever it is that you feel you're lacking. But that's the one thing that I would like us to understand, that if you can be able to disengage yourself from fear, as a project manager, as a project lead in an organization, doing whatever it is you're doing, you'll be at a better space. Now, we have come to the end of this masterclass. I truly hope that you have learned something, or at least you've smiled or laughed or I don't know what else, or sighed. But I've been your host, Wambui Kinyua, and this is a Creatives Garage Masterclass.